everybody. I have a very unique voice tonight. I haven't lost my voice, but it is variable. It's variable. Maybe I should bring this a little closer. So you'll have to bear with the broken voice tonight. How is everybody doing? There's my Chels. Good evening, Chels. Sandy is here. Hi, Sandy. Jeannie. Joan is exhausted, so she is going to just sit back tonight. You take care of you, Joan. Absolutely great. Barbara was here. Hey, oh, there she is. Hi, Barbara. Told you. Variable. Variable. It is what it is. At least I have one. I do feel better than I sound. Yes. Yes, I started to feel a little bit better day before yesterday. And then yesterday I kind of had a lull where I felt okay, but I had a terrible migraine. And so it kind of ended the day bad because I kind of by towards the end of the day I started to feel badly again. But today I have felt pretty good. Pretty good. Thank you. I'm glad. So for those who are watching and listening, I have had the flu all week. So if you weren't aware of that, I have had the flu. This evening, here in a little while, I will take my very last dose of the Tamiflu. But it has been a struggle because with the AFib that I have been experiencing, there are certain things I can't take now. So that kind of makes it hard. Hey, Frozen. Crafty Annie's here. Yay. We can start now. Yeah, it's been kind of icky. I want to know how many of you guys are watching the trial. How many of you have been watching the trial? That's what we are here for, is to talk about the trial of Alec Murdaugh. How many are watching the trial? Please say me in the chat if you like. Hi, Lorna. Glad to see you. So glad you're here. I'm glad you guys are all here. I have my Texas cup tonight full of coffee, if I don't spill it all over everything. I also have my water in my Floozie cup. I also have some cough drops should I need them. We're all set. Watching Sam Elliott. Well, I can't say I blame you there. Yeah, Chelsea's been hearing about it through me. And you took notes. Ooh, we may have to rely on those actually, Annie. I forgot to tell you. We'll be relying on your notes tonight. Okay, I took notes of the opening arguments. And then I got mad. Does anybody have any idea why I might be mad at this trial? Any guesses as to why I might be mad? You think Bill is sick of the trial. He's not a true crime person. Well, that's nice that he's watching with you. Yeah, right? Well, no kidding. I'm getting a little sick of looking at Alec myself. Ready for a break this weekend. Although, so here's the thing. I think he may get away with this. This is really early on. I know this is just the first week. I know we have not heard from any testimony from anybody that he knows or anybody that was involved or any, Buster's supposed to talk. That'll be interesting. So, but I guess I don't really understand how they do things in South Carolina, right? I'm not sure I do. My Chelsea and my friend Terry, we have been talking about the whole South Carolina thing. I think there's something going on down there in the water in South Carolina because for some reason, people down there get away with things. I have never seen a witness get away with what he is getting away with. He has had his been able to come in and out whenever he wanted to come to the courthouse, whenever he wanted to leave the courthouse. He's been able to have Tic Tacs and gum. He has been able to have no, um, shackles, no you know, they let George Wagner not have any shackles or handcuffs, but they put the shock vest on him. There's been none of that with Alec. He's been literally able to do just about whatever he wanted to do, and I don't get it. Plus can we talk about the fact that witnesses are allowed to be in the courthouse while evidence is being brought in? I'm not understanding that either. What happened to the rule? Y'all know what the rule is? Hi, Tammy. Yeah, there's a little bit of, that was a little cray cray, wasn't it, Annie? It was a little cray cray that they did not search the house that night when they had, yeah, oh yeah, snacks, he can do, yeah, whatever, whatever. Yep. His grandfather's portrait was hanging on the wall in that courthouse because his family is so embedded in this, and they took it down. Uh-huh. Unbelievable. Well, it might be prejudicial, right? But the thing that's made me the most mad, I mean, these are just observations. What's making me mad is the fact that the defense has been able to get away with some things that I would never have seen in some of these other trials I've been watching with no objection whatsoever. Some of the compound questions that he has been asking that, okay, well, and then asking a witness that is not there to testify about something, asking them to testify about it. And they're saying, that's not my job. But he just wants to get it heard. And and that's a defense. Well, and it's not, he's not presenting the case. The prosecution is presenting the case. He gets his chance after the prosecution. He's only supposed to come back, and it just irritates me. Yeah, and some people are saying that they have seen Buster get emotional. I haven't seen one iota of emotion out of him except the smiling. I have not seen it. I have heard it. People have been saying that, but I've been watching just like everybody else has. Has anybody seen him get emotional? I don't get it. Okay, so for those of you who have not watched this trial, I'm gonna get my blood pressure down just a little bit and tell you what I have. These are my observations. I'm just gonna run through my little. Oh, I'm not talking bad about him. Him and I, we are in complete agreement on this. Oh yeah, him and I are going. Ah, what? So Monday and Tuesday were jury selection. They actually seated the jury on Wednesday and then they had opening statements Wednesday afternoon. Okay? So I may not see all of you guys' comments here while I'm reading my notes. And I better bring my hands in. We do call this knitting while we do this. Okay. Why am I not getting to share my screen? There we go. It was on the wrong tab. I hate it when it's on the wrong tab. So I'm still working on the dishcloth. But I need to have something. I need to have my hands doing something while I'm talking about this, or I'm going to get mad. So, okay. Can you guys still hear me okay, even though I don't have this microphone right under my nose? So, jury selection, I must say, was interesting because you got to hear a lot of the questions that they asked. And they asked these jurors a lot about, like, who they knew, who they didn't, anybody who was related, all of those kind of things. So it's really interesting to see the rundown of all of that. I'm not going to go into any of that, but it was very interesting. Anybody who had dealings with the family and all that kind of stuff. I don't remember how many they started with, but by Wednesday they had like 120 something, and then they got it. And by that afternoon they had one. So it was really, really crazy. They were talking about how they were going to have a hard time getting a jury, and I just laughed because they have no idea how hard it is to get a jury until you live out where I do. 30,000 people, there's plenty of people for a jury. What the heck is their problem? Anyway, so I wonder, one of my things that I have been wondering is how fair this jury really is going to be. I know they've answered all these questions, they've done all these things, but I still wonder if they're going to have any biases, right? I mean, it's going to be a little hard to, although some of the people that are coming up and they are like SLED, I understand, because that's a state thing that they don't know anything about this family, but I still find that hard to know, to believe that they didn't know, especially given all of the things that have already happened with this family, how SLED doesn't already have something to do with them. That was interesting. But so for the state, we have Attorney General, and I think his name is Clayton Waters. Alex, he says, he came out and said exactly what was on his mind and what he thinks happened right off the bat. He didn't lead up to it. He didn't pussyfoot around it. He just came out and he said, Alex shot Paul twice in the shoulder and the chest and then blew off the top of his head. He shot Maggie 5 times, twice in the head. Then he says cell phone records will tell us where Alec was, where Paul and Maggie were, and what the times were. That Maggie was shot with a Black Ops AR style rifle with 2 different type of bullets. That Alec bought 2 Black Ops rifles. One went missing, so he bought a replacement. And they think that he used the replacement to do the shooting. Weeks before the murders, Paul and a friend were shooting that replacement gun, and the casings that they found in the flower bed where he had been shooting and at a range that was across the road from the Moselle place where they live matched gun casings that killed Maggie. But so far, what I'm hearing is that this gun was not found, that they did not find the actual gun. So if you guys hear anything different, let me know. But what I'm hearing so far is that they don't have the actual gun. Now, the day that I don't care, Windows. I really don't care. You don't need to tell me nothing. The actual day that this happened, Alex's father went in the hospital. And Alex's mother has end-stage Alzheimer's, so she doesn't have a clue what's going on. She's just out of it. And she was distraught. He said she was distraught. And that she would get upset. So he said that he went to, well, we'll get into that in a minute when we talk about what the defense says happens. But Alex's father was in the hospital, and he says that he went to the hospital the day of the murders. He showed up at his parents' with a blue tarp. Law enforcement was able to find a blue coat, which looked like a tarp. And on the inside of this blue coat, it was coated with gunshot residue. This was at his parents'. Alec was holding a gun when law enforcement arrived, and evidently, I mean, I'm hearing that it might have been Paul's gun. Okay. Now, the night all this happens, Maggie arrives at 8:15, and this is what I wanted to be sure and write down, because from this we kind of get a little bit of a timeline. That Maggie arrives at 8:15. Paul was already there. Alec is saying that they ate together. The autopsies show that Paul and Maggie had the same type of food in their stomachs, so they evidently did have dinner together. Around 8:30, Paul goes to the kennels. So, do y'all eat that fast? 15 minutes? I don't know why, but that seems really fast to me for all of them to sit down and have a meal. But Paul goes to the kennels. Alex says he takes a nap, that he never went to the kennels. At 8:44, though, Paul records a Snapchat, and it's a video of a friend's dog who is at their kennels. And he records this, and in the recording, you hear Alex's voice. It's in the recording on the video. At 8:49:01, now that was at 8:44. At 8:49, Paul's phone stops completely. Nothing ever happens on it again. At 8:49 and 39 seconds, Maggie's phone stops. Between 8:09 and 9:02, Alex's phone is quiet. At 9:02, Alex is now moving, according to the phone. At 9:04, he calls Maggie. He calls, makes another call, calls a hospital. He texts Maggie like at 9:06. So, and he's now, the phone's now moving. So nothing was happening. The phone was not moving between 8:09 and 9:02, and now all of a sudden it's moving. And this is also when he says that he went to the hospital. Because at 9:06, it shows that he used his phone to turn on his car. Okay. He again texts Maggie and he says, I'm heading to mom's. So he drives to Alameda, where his mom lives, and he talks to the caretaker. He's there for about 20 minutes. He calls people on the way there and he calls people on the way back. He gets back at 10:01. He calls 911 at 10:06. And he tells everyone that this is about the boat case. So that's what I wrote down from, and that is really it. I mean, that's really short, but that's pretty much what he says. I mean, there's a little bit more, but I was keeping it kind of short here. I mean, he said a few things, but I mean, he just came right out and he said that they're going to be able to prove all of this with the phone. That the phone is going to, you cannot say that you weren't there and then be on a video with your son. It just, it's one or the other. So, any observations from that, you guys? Let me see what if I missed anything. Right. See, they had all these they had a lot of guns there, which I mean, that doesn't make them guilty. They had 1,700 acres, so they're going to obviously they're hunters and whatever. And the dogs in the kennels are hunting dogs. So, I mean, it's obvious that's what they do. There's going to be guns there. But it's interesting about these black ops guns. These are camouflage black ops ARs, and I don't know, there's been a lot of discussion about that type of gun. So, and initially, he was not the only one who thought that, Sandy. He was throwing it around that Paul was getting a lot of threats. And we got to listen to his interview at the scene. They interviewed him there at the scene, and they played that today. And he does tell everyone that, Paul was he got sucker punched a couple times, that he was getting a lot of hate online, that, people were, you know, just a lot of hate stuff coming out. And I know if you watch the HBO special, they talk about it in there, the one about the Low Country. They also talk about how and they posted a lot of the messages and stuff that Paul had gotten, stuff that was posted online about him, regarding the boat accident, because he was supposed to go to court about it. Well, he was allowed to go to school, not be in jail. He never had handcuffs. His mugshot was taken from the inside of the courthouse, in the hallway. All of the things that, nothing was done like, regular people. And everybody was a little pissed off that nothing had happened to Paul over this, So I did. Yeah, I listened to the body cam footage. I think that was yesterday when they played the body cam. I think that's right. I don't quote me on what college he was going to, but he was allowed to actually go out of town and go to college. I don't think so. I don't think they found this gun. And, Alec would say things like, "Well, Paul always left guns in a car, and then somebody would get in the car and steal the gun," and kinda crazy things, kinda crazy. That the dogs didn't bark much, what do you mean? You mean, during the footage? I'm not sure what you mean. In regards to what? Okay, how about now? Did that do it? Okay. I had to get rid of my external mic is what happened. So this one is off. Now we're just using the laptop. May have to have to restart the laptop. So I will. I'll do that. Just have to deal with this for now. I know it doesn't sound all that bad. I like the sound better with the mic though. Okay. Anyway, so hi. So give me a synopsis of this dude. I don't remember what it is he did. So anyway, at the trial, he is on trial right now. It's Alec Murdaugh, and he is on trial for killing his wife and his son. But it's a long, convoluted story. Hi, Lori. Hi, Jolene. So they don't, the family of the housekeeper, they don't believe that he did. They don't believe he killed her. They do believe that he stole all their money, which he did. He stole all of their money. So the police are saying, y'all are asking about the murder weapon. So the police are saying that they have matched the cases, all of the cartridges and stuff at the scene. They have matched those to cartridges that they have found at the home. That both of those match. So that the bullets had to have come from the same gun. So I find it very difficult to believe that someone else may have shot them, given the fact that the bullets that Paul used with his gun, he shot that replacement gun that we were just talking about. He used that gun and he was shooting that gun. And those casings, they picked those up. They were in the flower bed. They picked those up, and then there were some over at the gun range, and they picked those up. And all of those casings matched the casings, all the markings on those casings matched the casings that were at the scene. So they may not need the gun. We'll see. I know that is a theory for sure. That she knew she would have to know stuff about the family, though. She would have to know stuff because she was there. I think it was like 17 years she'd been their nanny and their housekeeper. So, yeah, she would have to know things. Now the defense says. Now I'm gonna go back to my notes, you guys, for a minute. But I'm gonna tell you what the defense said. That Paul and Alec had been riding around the looking at trees and laughing an hour before the murders. They describe the defense describes Paul's wounds. The defense does. Now, this one I thought was okay. Okay, because he gave a lot of told a lot about what happened to them. And the minute he starts doing that, Alex starts crying. And he hasn't stopped crying. Just so y'all know, he's been crying ever since opening statement and hasn't stopped. Non-stop, the man has cried. Just saying. As if on command. Just saying that too. He says that the shot explodes and takes off the top of Paul's head, that his brain has hit the ceiling and lands at his feet. And that is exactly what the evidence is showing. That Maggie is shot while running and then shot in the back of the head. That neither of them have any defensive wounds other than Paul had his arm up, supposedly, and that one of the shots went out under his arm. So he said the cell phone records are incomplete. This is the defense. He says the cell phone records are incomplete. He said that Maggie's phone was found on the side of the road, more than a quarter of a mile away from the scene. That her phone was found by using Find My iPhone, and Alec gave them the code. Says the phone was on the side of the road around 9:06 when Alex calls it from the house. And so I guess we'll have to wait and see till they battle that one out, because that's not meshing with what the prosecution's opening statement says that he again describes how Alex comes home and finds Paul and Maggie, while Alex is now sobbing at the table, as he describes him checking Paul and then Maggie, and he calls 911. Says whoever shot them would be covered in blood. That Sled seized his clothes. No human blood. He says there was blood found on the t-shirt, but it was not human blood. He says that you can tell on the tapes and everything that Alec is he's in shock, you know. Then he drove back to the house while on the call with 911 and said he needed a gun because they're out here. So he was worried that something was gonna happen to him. He needed to go and get a gun. And it's on the 911 call. Says these people have guns everywhere. He says Alex is so upset he tries loading both a 12 gauge and a 16 gauge shotgun shell into the gun. The GSR that he says the GSR that they find on him is from that gun. Hey, Kimberly. Good to see you. Why wait? And he wants to know why they waited until September of 2022 to arrest him. And why were there, did they not talk about any other suspects? Did they look for other suspects? He says there's no eyewitnesses. He says there's no forensics that ties Alec to the scene. He says you have to presume him innocent because he is until he's proven guilty, which is true. He says a witness who said he showed up with a blue tarp was shown a blue rain jacket and said that's not it. That's not what he brought that morning. And then there was an objection because the prosecution said you can't be bringing in and talking about evidence and bringing evidence in to your opening statement, and it was sustained. So that stopped. Basically, he says that they got nothing. Remember that you said you could be fair. And he also said that if I or someone on my team or Alec or somebody, they make you upset or whatever, don't take it out on Alec. You can't take it out on Alec. You have to listen to evidence and you have to be fair. So that's pretty much what the opening statements were. So they've already been battling a lot of stuff out. One of the things that happened today that blew my mind was that they talked about, some of the evidence they talked about today was that there was some brown hairs that were found in Maggie's hand. Now, who's got brown hair? Because it's not Alec. It's not Paul. It's not Buster. They all have red or blonde red hair. So I don't know where the brown hair came from. That's going to be interesting. So there have been some very interesting things that have gone on. I think they would have already said dog hair, but we're just have to wait and see what comes up with that. I feel like they would have already said that. Not only, like I said, it infuriates me with the fact that, I know that they talk about how when there's a trial that it's a dance, right? It's a dance. This guy's saying one thing, this guy's saying, it's a dancing, they do this whole thing. They're driving me crazy. These guys are standing up, and these guys are standing up, and they're standing right next to each other, and they're all looking at this stuff, and they're all doing. I don't understand what's going on. It's like, okay, whose turn is it? I mean, it has been from opening statement. It has been this way. It's been constant So it's been very strange. I don't understand the style of how they're doing things at all. Yes, he does. Oh, he is. He's something. He's a star. That's for sure. Is it? Have you been watching Kimberly? It's driving you crazy too. What? It's kind of. Well, no, it's not. Maybe, maybe in a lawyer kind of way. I guess it could be kind of like that. But it's just. I've been watching some trials recently, and I have been thinking that there would be a lot more objections to some of what has been said. I don't get it. I mean, I'm worried. This is what I told Terry, Chelsea. I'm worried that they are going to confuse the jury. And there are some people out there that have said this, and they have said if they confuse the jury and they just throw it all against the wall and see what happens, we could have a mistrial. We could have a hung jury, not a mistrial, but a hung jury. So, I don't understand at all, and we're just gonna have to wait. We're just gonna have to wait. I mean, now this afternoon was a lot of entering evidence in, getting all the bullets in, getting evidence entered um, into so that people know so now the jury knows what some of the evidence is, so that now they can refer to it and they can say, okay, that bullet that we called 152. Let's talk about that. Now they can do that. And there was a whole lot of that happened this afternoon. Yeah, it's very strange. I was happy to see that the judge came out today and said, right off the bat this morning, first thing, he says, we need to get some rules straight. And he told them that only one person can be talking about the evidence at one time. You can't have two lawyers up here it's not your turn. You can't talk about the evidence. And there was like two or three things that he brought up, and I was like, good. I'm glad he got that straight. But somebody is putting them straight about something. The oldest son is in the audience. He's a witness. Okay, so the rule. I was going to tell you the rule. The rule is, if the rule is invoked, so usually prosecution will ask for the rule to be invoked. And when they do, it means that anyone that is a witness in the case cannot be present when evidence is being heard. That's the rule. The rule did not get invoked. I don't get it. I don't get it. So are you talking about this judge, Lorna? You're saying that this judge did the Uber murder? Yeah, it's really convoluted, I think. So you guys, here's what I say. Take it as entertainment. I don't think we're going to know what's going to happen on this. I think we're going to just sit back and watch and take it. We're going to just talk about this. We're going to take it as I quit taking notes because I got so mad. I was all set to have notes and say, this happened and that happened and this happened and that happened. Katie barred the door. Look at how they're handling this thing. And I can't. I can't get serious about this because something just doesn't feel right to me about this. I don't know how to explain it. So, okay, you guys. I think that's about all my voice is going to be able to do tonight. I'm trying. Please don't forget, we are going to have Stephen Keogh, and he is the author of the murder investigation team book we've been doing for the last couple of months. And he is going to be on, and he's going to be taking your questions. Please come and be on with us. It's going to be during the day on Tuesday. So please go over and turn on your notifications so you'll know if you can be there. I really, really would like for you to be there. And also, I have a winner. I didn't see her in the chat today, but I have a winner. The winner of this t-shirt is Jean Vallette. So Jean, if you watch this back, be sure and let me know in the comments because you are the winner of the t-shirt. So you're going to be there. Yay. Yep, she's winner, chicken dinner. Jean Vallette, winner of the t-shirt. Someone let her know. I'll probably make a post about it in my community tab. I'll do that too. Yep. Oh, you got to be there, Lorna. Come and ask your questions. You had some good questions. So, it felt like that, like they were directing a movie today. That is exactly what it felt like today, Lorna. I'm glad I'm not the only one that feels this way. I'm glad y'all are with me on that. Okay, you guys. Hopefully, I have more of a voice come Tuesday. If you don't see me Sunday, it's because I'm resting. Okay, I will try to come back on. I want to come back on, but it just depends on my voice. So, very fluid right now. Thank you guys so very much. I appreciate you all. Have a great weekend. Have fun today. And I will see you again really soon. I love you, Chelsea. I love you, Carrie. Carrie got to her new position. She's there. She starts next week. She's all set. So she's doing great. Her and Sailor got there safe. So just so you know. So I love you, Oliver. I love you, Solomon. Good night.